The internet is full of fictional scary stories and movies alike, but what I find more terrifying than these are the true scary stories that happen to real people like you and me every day. Here are 3 terrifying true stories. On February 26, 2016, a group of fishermen fishing off the Philippine island of Mindanao happened across a lone boat, floating mysteriously through the waters. As they drew closer, they noticed that the 44-foot yacht had a broken mast and looked worse for wear. Fearing for the crew inside, the fishermen got as close as they could to the boat before boarding it. Inside, they would discover a sight that would haunt them for years to come and go down in history as one of the most bizarre maritime deaths. As the fishermen boarded the yacht, they looked around but found no sign of her crew. They decided to go further into the belly of the ship, and that is when they came across a frightening sight. Still sitting upright at the table was the mummified body of a man. The fishermen scrambled to their boat and got the attention of local authorities, who transported the man's body to the town of Barabo for an autopsy. Upon searching the boat, they found tins, rubbish, and personal items that confirmed the man in the boat was 59-year-old German sailor Manfred Fritsch Bajoret. Investigators also found a photo album that showed Manfred smiling happily with his wife and daughter. The Philippine authorities contacted the German embassy and requested their assistance, only to learn that his wife had passed away in 2010. That meant that his daughter was his only surviving next of kin, and the embassy raced to track her down. Thankfully, they were able to, and she was flown out to the Philippines to aid in the identification of her father. After arriving in the Philippines, his daughter confirmed that the 44-foot yacht was her father's, and that the mummified corpse found was his. Now the question was, how did Manfred pass, and how had he gone undiscovered for so long? According to friends of Manfred, he had hit a rough patch following his divorce in 2008 and decided to take some time out, sailing the 7 seas and finding himself again. Manfred was described as an experienced sailor, so there were no concerns as to whether he could take care of himself. Official documents state that Manfred's boat was cleared by maritime police in 2013 in São Vicente, Brazil, or São Vicente, Cape Verde. After that, Manfred kept to himself, sailing around in his boat and living out his dreams. He would occasionally post to Facebook and keep in contact with his friends and family. However, for the most part, he wanted to shut out the world. Following his formal identification, the coroner also revealed that Manfred had passed away from a heart attack around 7 days before he was discovered. This announcement confused residents as his body was found in a near mummified state. Peter Vanis, a forensic pathology professor, went on to explain that the air, heat, and saltiness of the sea are all very conducive to mummification. It starts within 2 or 3 weeks. The fingers and other extremities dry quickly, and in a month or 2, they are well gone. Amongst his possessions was a notebook to his late wife, who sadly passed away in 2010. It read, "30 years we've been together on the same path. Then the power of demons was stronger than the will to live. You're gone, may your soul find its peace. Yours, Manfred." 29-year-old Devin Williams was described as a doting father of 3 and a devoted husband from Emporia, Kansas. Devin worked as a long-distance truck driver to help provide to his family, and those who knew him said that he would do anything for them. Devin's wife, Mary Lou, told Unsolved Mysteries that the couple had recently bought a house and were experiencing the best time in their marriage. The events of Labor Day weekend 1995 turned the Williams' lives on their heads, and over 26 years later, we are still asking, what happened to Devin? The morning of May 28, 1995 started peacefully, with campers gearing up for the day ahead of them in Tonto National Forest. The forest was home to many popular camping spots and over the Labor Day weekend, families would take advantage of the extra time together, setting up barbecues and relaxing. Lynn Yerington was amongst those camping in Tonto National Park for Labor Day weekend, as the forest provided a serene backdrop for her day. A rumble in the distance interrupted her serenity. Before she knew it, a semi-truck came barreling through the forest, almost hitting 2 campers in the process. Lynn recalled the event to Unsolved Mysteries, saying, "There was no expression on his face at all. He didn't attempt to slow down or look over to see if they needed any help. He just kept going." Luckily, no one was harmed, and the campers did their best to go about their day. It wasn't until later that afternoon that another set of campers and park goers came across Devin Williams once more. This time, he was standing next to his truck, mumbling furiously to himself. When approached by concerned members of the public, Devin blurted out, "They made me do it. I'm going to jail." By Sunday evening, Devin's truck had stood unattended for quite some time, and the local police force were called to the scene. An extensive search of the truck was conducted, but there was no sign of Devin. The refrigerator unit of the truck was still running, and none of the cargo was missing. Nothing in the truck indicated that Devin had met with foul play. However, after being unable to contact him, a missing persons report was filed, and the company that Devin had worked for was contacted to come and retrieve the truck. Sources also state that Devin had phoned his workplace during the weekend, saying that he was unable to get a good night's sleep, but he would be on the road as soon as possible. Did Devin begin hallucinating due to lack of sleep, or is there something more nefarious to blame? The last confirmed sighting of Devin came on Monday, when Lynn Yerington and her husband Jack found Devin in the woods. This time, Devin looked more shaken than the last time, mumbling to himself and acting erratically. Jack carefully approached Devin and asked if he needed any help, noticing that he was holding a $20 bill that he was hitting with a rock. All Devin could reply with was, "I gotta light this grill," before throwing the rock at their car. Lynn and Jack left for their own safety, and this was the last time that Devin Williams was ever seen alive. I say alive because 2 years later, in 1997, his skull was discovered a quarter-mile away from where he was last seen. On May 2nd, 1997, Devin's skull was found on Magalim Rim. A cause of death was never released, and we're still wondering what happened to Devin. There have been plenty of theories put forward, such as UFOs, gangs, drugs, and even the possibility of a medical episode. Mary Lou, Devin's wife, refuted that he used drugs, and this was backed up by the company he worked for, who said that he passed every single drug test. Circling back to the prior theory of sleep deprivation, one of the biggest symptoms of no sleep is hallucination and erratic paranoid thoughts. Devin mentioned that he hadn't been getting good sleep, so it's possible that this caused him to become delusional, thinking that somebody was after him, when in reality, he was safe. Did he run off into the woods only to die of exposure? Who knows? Buffalo Edge Camp was once the site of a girls' camp back in the 1960s, ushering in hundreds of girls each year to spend their summers doing whatever their hearts desired before they went back to school once more. Documents from the camp show young girls riding bikes, skipping rocks across the lake, and firing guns at the firing range. Nothing was off limits for the girls at the camp, and the owners hoped to provide the young girls of Burlington, Vermont, with a safe space to be themselves and explore everything that life had to offer. However, in 1968, a chance encounter would change all of that and put Buffalo Edge Camp firmly on the UFO map. On August 7th, 1968, 16-year-old Michael Lapp and 19-year-old Janet Cornell were out at the boat dock, relaxing and making the most of a slow-paced day. The two teenagers had been working at the camp during the summer and had enjoyed their experiences thus far. As the two chatted, Watching the sunset, a bright light appeared from nowhere. The bright light was a stark contrast to the setting sun, and as they focused their eyes, they noticed that it was moving towards them. By this point, they were the only ones left at the boat dock and began to look at each other in disbelief. Above them, this bright light split off into 3 smaller lights, dancing around as if they were performing a personal light show for Michael and Janet. The 2 teenagers were amazed at what they were seeing and couldn't take their eyes off of it. It wasn't until the 3 lights became one that they realized that something otherworldly was happening to them. After flying over them and crashing into the lake in front of them, the light slowly rose from the darkened waters, moving towards them. It was at this point that they could see the object in front of them more clearly, and according to Michael and Janet, what they were seeing wasn't a star or light, but a UFO with 2 aliens inside. According to Michael, the aliens had elongated necks, big heads, and no hair, and had a childlike appearance. Before they knew it, the UFO had floated above them once more, and they were beamed up in a bright stream of light. The next thing they knew, they were back on the dock, watching as the UFO faded into the night sky. The 2 went their separate ways and never spoke to each other about what happened that night. Both Janet and Michael buried their experiences deep within them, and it wasn't until many years later that Michael underwent hypnosis and reached out to the Center of UFO Studies to make sense of what happened. Under hypnosis, Michael recounted that he watched Janet being poked and prodded by the strange alien creatures, looking on in terror as they took fluids from her. Janet would also later undergo hypnosis, and her accounts matched Michael's, only adding to the credibility of the story. Since then, there have been many attempts to either prove or debunk what happened that May evening in 1968, but as far as we know, those aliens have never visited Earth again. That is it for this one. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. This will help my channel grow. If you have a future story suggestion or would like to contact me directly, you can do so by emailing me at creepyunsolvedmedia@gmail.com. I look forward to your comments below.